All right, so this is, I don't know, is this our second or third Gestalt Media Cocktail Hour? We're joined today with Ryan Leslie, aka The Witch, author of Fate and River, and David Allen Voiles, author of Things That Creep You Out Around Christmas, and host of the Dark Corners podcast, and Walden, our special fan guest, who is the reason we get to do this. So thank you. How's everybody?
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Hanging in there.
So,
so everything's good.
We were just talking about having to wear masks, and I don't know how many of you have made your own. We got kind of lucky. We had some left over from some renovations we were doing, so we just happened to have one each, and we didn't have to get crafty here. But yeah, how many have any of you made your own masks yet?
I came home from work last night and made one for my son so he could go into work today.
Nice.
And I'm working on one for me.
What did you do?
Have to sew, or were you able to do that all craft, just folding over and rubber bands? And
I actually have 2 sewing machines sitting on the kitchen table right now. The first one I couldn't get to work. The second one I'm trying to remember how to work.
Yeah.
So I was able to sew the one for my son last night after work.
Nice.
Cool. What kind of material did you make it from?
A pair of his old jeans.
Nice. I mean, that seems like it would be effective, because I mean, they were saying even T-shirts where if you folded a T-shirt over that was good. So.
Yeah. I used a pair of his old jeans for the mask part, and then instead of doing rubber bands or hair bands or anything, I used the Kaiser Permanente pattern that called for ties.
Nice.
So I had an old sheet that I cut up and made the ties with, because it needed like 36-inch fabric for both sides.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill. So I was looking at the sheet for making the masks themselves, but when I brought it out, my daughter, her first comment was, "Oh, that looks really medical because it's blue." I'm like, "Ooh, let's avoid that."
Yeah.
That's cool. They said another one was that the shop towels, the blue paper shop towels were really good. The material was thick enough. The weave was fine enough to work. So like I said, we haven't had to do it yet, but I'm looking into like if we have to, or some other members of the family or whatnot. So getting ideas, I guess.
Yeah, getting ideas. That's right. The shop towel thing, I'm thinking I've got these other white masks that I don't think are really the quality that I'm not confident in, but I do have shop towels, and I'm thinking I could line those with the shop towels and kind of double up a little bit if we need to go out. And I think we're going to have to go out because eventually I'm going to run out of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a house with 3 grown-ups, and I severely underestimated the amount of alcohol we should stock up on.
Yeah.
Same. I thought we overdid it because we usually don't drink that much.
Yeah, no.
So I've had people bring 6-packs for a party, and we don't party that much, maybe once every 6 months, and those beers would still be in the refrigerator when they came back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, drink that. I know you like it. But I think we're going through a 6 or every 3 or 4 days now. So
I had,
and the liquor's all gone.
Yeah, I have been working nights, so day drinking is not an option.
Yeah.
By the time I get home, I'm too dang tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have a couple glasses of wine making my son's mask last night.
Nice. So if the stitching's a little crooked.
Hey, it just shows that it's not one of the masks that we're hoarding, and not taking away from people who really need it.
Yeah, that's right.
Totally. So I know you're drinking water, and David's drinking beer and Fireball.
Not Fireball. I moved on. We had 2 cocktail hours. I'm on my second cocktail hour. So I cut back. I didn't do the Fireball. I normally I have a cocktail. I have a beer every night, one. So when we do 2 cocktail hours, that's a big deal. But anyway, so I'm having my second, but it's just a beer, but it is a without the Fireball.
Ugh.
And what are you doing? What are you drinking, Ryan?
A little rosé.
Still rosé.
Yeah.
Is it like the top of the shelf, or you got to bend down and get it, or did it come in a box?
No, it did not come in a box. I do have standards, right? I don't drink that much. So we did do a huge liquor run for the Warrior, but I think he's made a huge dent in it because I kept putting stuff in the basket. He's like, I'm not that big of a drinker. And I'm like, okay. But he's gone through, several bottles of the hard stuff, and, we always have wine, but he doesn't touch my rosé. So it's always there for me.
That's cool.
You got to have your standards, like, this is mine, this is what you can't, it's always going to be there.
Most definitely.
Normally mine would be the Jameson. I'm the only one who drinks it, but that's been gone for weeks at this point. So we're pretty much just down to whatever is in the back of the fridge.
Yeah. Well, I'm a light drinker. I've about given up on liquor. I just can't do that anymore. So a beer is it. One a day, I think, is, my doctor even said, that's why I chose this doctor, that can actually be a healthy thing. 1 glass of wine, 1 beer, not a bad thing. So that's pretty much what I do. So this is an abnormal thing to have 2 in the same day.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a control freak, so I have a really hard time, just sitting back and just drinking, because it makes you nice and relaxed, and I'm not really good with that. So it's actually very hard to get me to just like drink. Jason got me doing it, but he's special.
That's what I do. I make people want to drink.
That's right.
Claim to fame. So Ryan, are you writing right now?
Mm-hmm.
You're still on your path because you've got your series would be 10 books, right?
Yeah, 10 books. I'm right. I'm the third one is it's written, but I've had to go through and do a rewrite because when I first wrote it a couple years back, it was written in first and we're in deep third. So I've been doing that, but it's kind of taken a whole different path than I was anticipating. So it's, like a domino effect. If this changes, then the whole book has to change. So yeah, I'm right in the middle of that.
Yeah. Is that a good thing? Do you like it when it does that, or do you go, damn it?
I do like it when it does that, but for some reason, it always takes me by surprise. River and Fate were written, they were one book. And so they were written at the same time, but then they were too big. So I had to split them into 2 books. So River, she's been written since 2014. So I've never touched her. But then Fate, I had to go back through, and she suddenly decided she wasn't going to stay with River. She was just going to take this whole dark path. So I assumed this third book was going to go kind of along the lines of what Fate did. But now we've gone to, we're like in a heaven hell sort of thing, which I never planned on or counted for. And so now I'm suddenly having to do all this research on demons and more than I already know, but I'm going deep into it, and gods, and just again, River's taking me on a path that I just wasn't prepared for, but I love it when it happens.
That's cool. I can relate on a much smaller scale because for the series of stories that are coming out soon, the next little book of Tales from the Hearse, I was playing with the idea of I ran across these different creatures. I love horror, and I understand you're bringing a little bit more horror element into the dark fantasy. But I had this neat creature, a bubak. It was called a Slovakian creature, like scarecrow-like creature that comes to punish bad people, and it takes bad children and all this. I thought that is a really cool creature. But then if I want to do a story, and it's going to be the bubak, and it's going to be these characters, I'm going to bring them to the United States. And then I thought, but now I got to look up Slovakian culture. I've got to have a little bit of, but that at least is contained within a short story rather than, now you had to probably do a lot more research than I had to do for just this one story.
Well, the problem, it's not a problem, but that I have my fantasy world that's in the outside human world, the Ebb, right? And so they have their own goddess. They don't belong with God and heaven and all that stuff. So, but I brought it in to where, you know, River suddenly happened to go to these places, but that's not her God. I don't know. It just causes this big problem. But the horror aspect is I have brought in the demons and, you know, her and the people from the Ebb coming in contact with them and then freaking out. I love research. I love to spend hours researching. That is like my favorite thing ever to do. The horror, you know, normally I don't go too dark with that. The horror, I mean, I do with my adult stuff, you know, my adult erotica stuff, but with River, I haven't really done the horror aspect until this third book. But it's pretty scary.
When you're doing the can you find yourself going down the rabbit hole and going like, oh my God, and spending all sorts of time?
Oh yeah.
Time.
I love that. I love that. My favorite.
It's one of the better parts of this profession, I guess, is that you get to entertain yourself on all the strange interests that you have. You can use all of it as just an excuse for research. You know, I can spend 4 hours watching documentaries on, I don't know, 16th century Spain and be like, look, I'm writing about this.
I love that.
It may only be like a paragraph in the final novel, but I need to make sure it's accurate.
Well, I want to get to a point with this series. Anybody can give me like that really happened in our history, and because the Ebb and the outside is so tangled together, I can go back and tell them, well, this is actually what happened for real. You know, us humans think, you know, we went to war because of this. It was humans fighting against humans, when actually it was something started with my Ebb. So the research I've done and like writing the history of the Ebb, I've just gone so deep with all the layers from everything from, you know, the urban legends, you know, just stupid stuff, you know, the Bermuda Triangle and Atlantis and, you know, even World War II. I've tangled it all together in like one big tapestry sort of. And so at some point, you know, if I'm doing questions or whatever, people can ask me, well, what happened here? And I'm like, oh, well, let me tell you. Let me tell you the truth. It's all made up, of course, but.
And River's one of the ones that, have they arrived yet?
You getting it?
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. That's what's up.
There you go, sweetie.
It's so weird. It's so weird to see that. I love it. I love it.
Yes, I believe all of my books have arrived so far. For now, I just have to finish a couple little chores and be able to read.
Get the time to read.
Yeah, it's been a challenge.
It's amazing.
It's really hard to read. I mean, it really is.
It's kind of weird that even now we have trouble finding time to read. Or at least I do. I'm like, you have all the time in the world now.
Yes and no. Because like I said, I'm currently looking to replace my primary job. So job hunting is like a full-time job and it's consuming. You can't, or I don't generally compartmentalize.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, there's still taxes to worry about and there's a few little details. My biggest challenge right now is working 6 nights a week at my secondary job. By the time I come home, I usually like to read at night. By the time I come home, I'm done.
Yeah.
You take a shower, you take off your clothes because you went outside, you take a shower, and you're done.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I usually do my writing at night, and that's why I've maybe twice since February.
And last month, I was working on my poetry for my thesis. So this month, I get to do the formatting.
Oh, I would love to read your poetry. I would love to read it.
It's not Susie Sunshine poetry, but there's a few that'll kick you in the feels.
Nice. Well, I guess you haven't read Ryan's work yet, but there is no sunshine.
Well, I know there was a Sunshine anthology that someone was working on in the Gestalt, and I'm just like, here, I'll give you these, and maybe they're warm and fuzzies.
I can't write warm and fuzzy.
I remember
I
that.
don't think I'm capable of writing that like that, all sweet and happy. I know people that do, and it's just very great. Whatever, I can't. I just no.
I have two poems in particular that almost everybody who's read it has cried.
Oh, I love that. See, I love that. See, I want to read that.
Yeah.
Mine, I'm hurting somebody. There's pain involved, darkness. You know, it's very. Sometimes, normally, it has like an erotica kind of twist to it. So that's how my poetry goes. There's always
I
pain
like
involved.
writing poetry that makes people feel
Mhm.
and that gives a voice to people who normally don't have a voice.
That's awesome.
Dig it. Yeah, I think the best use of that particular medium is to, do stuff that hasn't been done and uncover some stuff that might be a little uncomfortable, but I mean, that's the kind of thing that we need to experience.
I have a section of poetry that I've kind of it's in a file and it might stay there for a while and I might revise it a little bit, but I'm like, oh, this is gonna get really dark really fast.
Love it.
You're in the right
All
group.
that darkness. Love it.
Hi, baby.
I mean, David used to drive to work in a hearse, so
Which is cool. Love it.
we're all
In the hearse.
Oh, you got
oh,
to keep.
the little kitty.
This is Papa. This is the one I'm most allergic to.
Oh, you should get right.
We'll be sneezing soon.
Yes, exactly. Aw.
That's awesome.
It's so cute. But like with the reading, it's like when I have time to sit down and read, and I'm like, okay, because I've got my to be read pile is enormous. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go through these books, and we're in the quarantine, whatever. But I just sit there, and it won't go in my head. Especially if I'm writing. If I'm in the middle of writing, there is no reading whatsoever. I might read news, but because I'm so focused on the stories that I'm writing, when I try to read something else, it just won't go in my head. I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but
Nah.
If I'm reading in the daytime, I feel guilty. Like
yes,
I should be writing.
yes, yes.
So I can definitely relate to that. So my reading happens like when I'm in bed and I wake up in the middle of it right before I go to sleep, and then when I wake up in the middle of the night and I realize that's when my insomnia hits. So that's when I look and read. But yeah, daytime reading, I feel like I should be doing something else.
Most definitely. I go to bed early, but I get up really early too. So I do all my writing and stuff in the morning, my reading in the morning, like between 3:30 and 4, I get up. I mean, I am an early riser.
Wow. Yeah.
I can stay up that late. I cannot get up that early.
That's not the morning. That's still last night.
I'm a total morning.
Although I've been awake until like 2:00 after 2 most of the nights. Hi, sweetie. Hi.
You will never see me up at 2. I swear to God. I go to bed between 7 and 8, and I don't even feel ashamed. But the weird thing is that I've always done that ever since I was little. I was that kid that always went to bed early, but then I was up at the crack of dawn. It used to drive my parents nuts.
But I'm going to bed before it's dark. That seems like the hard thing.
Yeah.
I have no issues with it.
Well, you were little in Alaska, right? Weren't you?
Yep.
So I mean, maybe you.
Maybe.
I broke you. You're broken.
Yeah. My grandmother was a night owl. My mom's the early bird. I'm the night owl.
Yeah. Oh, well. So I'm both. So that's the problem. It's because I always go to bed between midnight and 1, but I'm always up by 7.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a lot of sleep happening here.
No,
it's obvious. But
sorry, he's a big baby.
These guys know because I'm always texting y'all at god awful hours. Like, what are you doing?
Oh no, I got you beat on that. And you know it. Because you said it's not, because I'll text you and I won't even think about it. And you'll be like, it's not time. These aren't hours yet, or whatever you say. Of course, it is like 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm texting you, but if I don't do it, I'm going to forget it, right?
Yeah. No, I have woken up and I'm like, for the love of God, I haven't even read my Twitter posts. I haven't checked the email. It's like, I'm not even sure that I'm not going to roll over again. And I've got Ryan texts, okay, can you send me that file? I'm like, hell no. I get it after 8.
Yep, I've been up for hours.
That's
I
awesome.
love early morning.
Well, it's nice
Yeah.
and quiet, right?
Yes, it's very quiet. Yes. Get my coffee. My puppies come in with me, sit down, and it's just uninterrupted time till the warrior gets up. Because when he gets up, then the whole energy changes, the vibe changes. Then the kid gets up, and he wanders in the office when he's not in school. This is his senior year. He should be in school. So this has been fun with having his ass around the house.
Well, it does change everything. Like I try to do the Dark Corners podcast. I don't have a studio, so I'm up in a little loft, but it's
Working
a
on that.
living room. And so when you do that you've got to do it when it's quiet. So I do those like at 11 at night, start doing those, and it takes a while because I'm not perfect. So
They do take a while, don't they?
It's fine. I can work on it in the daytime, but to record it, so that's kind of odd to have these spooky stories and be telling them in the at midnight to myself.
Right. So how's Ann gonna take it when we set you up a cot down at the studio?
That'll be great. Yeah, I can come over in the daytime and just knock out some stories, and she'll probably be glad.
How close are you guys to each other? How close are you?
It was about 45 minutes or to
Yeah.
between an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
He lives in a real city, and we live where you can't even hear the banjo music from here.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm still in the country. I'm on the other side of the city, so
Okay.
but
Yeah.
we're much closer to the city than he is. He's in the city. When you drive to Jason's house, you do hear the banjo music. I mean, you're out there wondering what's going to happen, and you drive around this river, a small stream that looks like.
Right.
I did it when we were having storms, and the river was right. Wondering like, is it going to go over this little bridge that I want to go over? It was close. It was a close deal.
More than one person has told me that leaving our house was harrowing. Like, it's like I should have stayed.
Yeah.
So that's awful.
Yeah.
So we're the directions are to leave Asheville, go north until you're about halfway to Tennessee, and then take an exit out in the middle of nowhere, drive until you find a town of about 1,000 people, go through that, and it's about 5 miles outside of that town.
Wow.
And it's like winding roads.
If you heard of hairpin turns, this is much worse than that. I mean, you're curving back on yourself to wind around and get to where you need to go. There's one turn that literally you have to come onto another little road. There's no way you can make the turn and stay in your lane. So everybody there just knows to look and wait for somebody that might be pulling out. But I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where what's the big tire thing? Anyway.
Yeah, Big D.
There's a place that's like, okay, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna pull out here, and hopefully nobody's coming.
Yeah, and my wife doesn't believe me every time I stop there because I come to a full stop and look, and I was like, "Tell me if there's anything coming." She's like, "You can see it." I'm like, "You can't see anything when you're driving. You just have to go on instinct on that one."
Anna grew up there, and she has stories about driving her 100 miles an hour.
Oh yeah,
on these.
Yeah. She drove off one of those turns and landed on a house.
Oh, God. I can believe that you would. I wouldn't want to do it, but I can certainly believe that. Hell, I was crawling when I drove out there the first time.
I do it about 65. That's about all I got in me.
65, nuts. I wish there was a way to show you folks what we're talking about. This is you need to do a little video cam trip, and
I did. I'll find it. I'll probably post it just for the hell of it the next few days. I recorded it bringing a U-Haul through there when we moved here because I was like, no one's going to believe these roads. So, but her dad, you won't believe this. He used to do 90 on that road, and he came around the turn right before our house and took the wheel off the back of the car. He had to jerked it so hard to try and make that turn that the rear wheel came off. So
I don't know.
They had a good time.
That's what happens when you are inspired by Smokey and the Bandit. You see that one?
Yeah, this is where Dukes of Hazzard was filmed. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. which I'm proud to say I never saw one episode, but I know about it. But I
The
don't
Duke?
live here if I hadn't released a reference to it. But I have not seen it.
I've seen one, the first episode.
Yeah, that was enough.
Yeah. It's like I just want to say I've seen it.
Oh man.
But Ghost Story was actually framed. I don't know if that's one of the ones you got, Ann, but I'll try not to spoil it. Ghost Story was framed by Smokey and the Bandit. That was one of the huge influences for writing that book. So let that deter you or encourage you, depending on
one episode was enough to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen some Smokey and the Bandit, but that was like a century ago.
Oh yeah. Well, my father was a truck driver, so it was mandatory in our house. And I got Anna to watch it, and she watched the first one, and she's like, "Well, shit, that was pretty good." It's like, you don't go into it with high expectations, but it's a lot of fun. I was like, "Well, that's just the first one," and we ended up watching all three, like in the same night. It's like you've already seen it, you might as well just go full in.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better. It's all
There's
downhill.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's kids that haven't seen Porky's, so I really don't know what to tell you about life.
I don't think I've seen that one. I also haven't seen oh golly, what's the one? Well, this one time at band camp, I can't think
American
of
Pie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I've seen enough of it, but that's one of those. You ever notice there's those movies that you only see in like 30-minute increments? Yeah. You're pretty sure you've seen the whole thing. But yeah, that's one of those. It's just I was always on TV and I'd watch it and then I'd get bored and go do something else. And then Dude Fucks a Pie, I think. And
yeah. I think I know it more because of the cultural context. Oh, goody. Papa got down. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of movies that I'm just like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
However, I will fight you. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yes.
I will fight you on that.
I think that's a safe one there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that argument got started. It's like, does it take place at Christmas? It's a freaking Christmas movie. That's how that works.
Exactly. And it's got Christmas themes, family and togetherness and anyways.
As long as it plays a key part in the film, that's all that matters. So that's a good question. Either of you, our two authors, were any of your books inspired or informed by movies or TV shows? Did they have any influence on you while you were creating?
I think without a doubt, I'd have to say Twilight Zone.
Hell yeah.
It wasn't conscious, but that's it's definitely in my psyche. I like the feel of it. I like the creepiness factor of it. I mean, I'm thinking of obviously the Rod Serling, the original series, the music. Even when I was a child, and I'm obviously the oldest in this whole group. I mean, I was
barely
on. I was too young to be watching it, but you could hear the music when your parents were perhaps watching it. And you might see, and it was creepy as all get out. Just the eye that opened in the opening sequence,
the lampshade.
That would freak me out. No, that's the modern one. I don't think they had the lampshade in the original, but just the old black and whites with the eyes open in the sky like that. That freaked me out. And then the episodes themselves were. And so I have this, I think that's kind of a factor that's just in the way I tell stories. It's just got that creepiness factor. I'm not a Chainsaw fan. I actually will like the Chainsaw Massacre movie. I mean, that's really a lot of fun. But like if you go to a haunted house and they pull out the chainsaw, I'm thinking like, forget it, man. That's anybody. Okay, you can startle somebody. Give me something creepy. Give me a cookie thing to scare me. That's what I want. The idea where it kind of plays with your mind. That's what I want to see.
Did you watch Fringe? I'm curious.
I did like.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that show.
I love that show.
Yeah, it was good. Very good. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to be kind of elitist, we can call it cerebral, right?
Or person of interest.
Yeah, there you go.
That one really messed with me.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure that I know person of interest, so I'll have to check that.
Oh,
Definitely.
it's got some twists in it that made me question my whole existence.
Oh, I'll have to look it up.
Well,
Definitely.
so you've seen my Halloween attire, haven't you, David?
Yeah.
I think you're the only one who's seen it in person.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you haven't seen it in person?
I don't think I saw it in person. Oh wait, well, I know I've seen the photographs of it, but I don't know that I did see it in person. He's got a great place in Voorhees. It's downstairs. You can't go get it, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, let me see. I think I can see if I can do this.
Pulling it up.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
So that is my Halloween costume. So maybe I'm informed a little bit by the old 80s.
Is that late?
Yeah, just a
Mask under the hockey mask?
little bit.
Yeah, that's so I did latex. I took a mold of my own head and then I sculpted it and then I did the latex over it, painted that, made the mask, made the jackets, and it's 100% screen accurate to the 2009 remake.
Wow.
That's awesome. It really is awesome.
Yep.
So Ryan, fantasy and dark fantasy, did you have things that inspired you?
When Robin Hood, you remember that old movie with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
So they lived in the trees, and I was always fascinated by that. And I always wanted a tree house, but no one would build me a tree house. So I love the woods. I love hiking. I love being out in nature. And I just always thought it'd be really cool if you could live in a tree. And then there was a couple years back, there was a show where the guy would go and build tree houses on HGTV or something.
Oh, yeah.
A tree house for people. And I just was fascinated by it. So I put my entire my Banyans clan up in the trees. It's way, way more advanced than it was on Robin Hood. Obviously, it's a whole city, but that really inspired me to do that.
There's a fantasy series, and I can't think of the author, but now that you've mentioned it, I'm going to have to find it. But because it was at least 20 years ago, if not more, and it was a wonderful female author whose name I can't think of, but she wrote this great series of. And the main civilization did live in the trees, and it was so well done. It was such a cool thing that I know I can appreciate that kind of feel.
I'm just fascinated by it. I'm fascinated, and plus, the warrior is a bit of a prepper. He doesn't say he is, but he is a prepper, and so we're always prepared. Like we're very prepared for this virus. And
yeah, doesn't seem silly now, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I've had to apologize a couple times, but he just the randomest shit that he collects. But I've always been fascinated by preppers. I've always been fascinated by people who just live off the land. They just go off the grid, even though I could never do it because I need my, my internet and my bed and my AC and my ice, ice water and stuff. And I just couldn't do it, but I am fascinated by it. Absolutely fascinated by people doing that. So I made a whole species that live off the land.
Yeah.
And they don't use money. They don't need the money unless they're interacting with the humans. And I kind of wanted to take it back to just really honoring the earth and being a family and blah blah blah.
Well, because I remember a post that you had a couple of weeks ago, maybe it's been months ago, a month or more, and you posted something about you were going to the movies because the Warrior and your kids were going to go, but you weren't too excited about it. It was like a buddy cop movie kind of thing. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So if you had the choice and you're picking a movie, what kind of movies do you go to?
It's going to be scary.
Yeah.
or it's going to be like some sort of thought-provoking thing, like The Witch, the movie The Witch, or The Wind. That's another one I just watched recently. Hereditary. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
I want movies that are surprising and stuff like that. Comedy's fine, but I hate movies that they go and they shoot it up and it's just one thing after another. I'm totally bored. I only can go if I'm enticed with snacks, candy, and popcorn. And because, I really don't like to sit down and sit through a whole movie anyways. I have serious issues with that. I feel like I should be doing 80 million other things. So it's really hard for me just to sit down and watch TV. But I always want to go see the scary movies, definitely.
Yeah. Did you, now put on your list, you're looking for others. Did you see Mother? I mean, it's like, what is it, a year? Maybe it's been 2 years, but
It's a little over a year.
Mother.
That sounds familiar, but I haven't seen it.
You need to check it out. It's really a thought-provoking movie too, and it gets really interesting places. It's not a fashion movie. It's a.
I need to go check that out.
Creepy. Yeah, you should definitely.
Anything with like scary stuff, haunted houses, stuff like that. I don't like movies that are like realistic, like kidnapping movies when they go in and kidnap kids and they gotta find. I don't like movies that are like realistic like that. I want it to scare me. Give me a ghost story. Make me jump in my seat, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Looks like you have a fan, right?
Jesus Christ. No, baby. No. Not happening.
Takes all kinds, I guess.
I guess so.
Well, I don't know. I don't usually go to a theater, to be honest with you.
I don't either very often.
We have really nice ones. The Biltmore has the seats are like motorized and they recline and they'll bring you food and it's all right, but
It'll be great, but we don't do them either.
Yeah, it's like my couch reclines and I can wait 3 months and pay half the
And
price.
it's expensive. It's really expensive. That's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Waste of money.
Yeah. No, we're home bodies, I guess. It was kind of boring, but yeah, I haven't experienced that great cinema thing these days. And as a matter of fact, I probably shouldn't even confess this, but real scary movies, really good scary movies, are almost too scary for me on the big screen. It's like, because I get into it,
Right.
My mind goes there, and I can control it on the little screen. But in the movie theater, I did go. The last movie that I went to see, or a horror movie, was Hereditary in the theater. And it was, we were really too close to the front of the screen. And there was a thunderstorm that happened that we didn't realize. It just broke. And I thought it was part of the movie. But we were actually hearing the thunder from the actual thunderstorm while we were watching Hereditary, which wasn't a big point to the plot, but it just happened to be coincidental. And we went, oh, and we stepped outside. Like, oh, it really did rain. I guess that was real thunder.
But that was an incredible movie.
I love
that.
Yeah,
I really like that.
I like that movie too.
Man, I think the last thing I saw in theaters was the last Godzilla movie. It's either that or Purple Rain. I don't remember which one.
Easy to get on mixed up. No.
I mean, they're so similar.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, really, the only things I'll go see now is I like to go see classics. Like I like the Clue and Rocky Horror and anything from like the night. I think we went and saw some old Kevin Smith films and stuff like that. Like I like to go watch that stuff. And the newer movies, I don't know, maybe I'm too cool. I'm not entertained anymore, so I just don't go.
Clue is okay. I didn't like Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know I'm like special.
Nah,
Everybody
I'm not
loves
a
it.
fan.
I don't like, I hated the 80s. I grew up in the 80s and I just didn't like it. And I thought it was a stupid movie.
I'm with you.
Clockwork Orange, that was stupid. Stupid. I don't get the pull of that. But I do like Clue. That's fun.
Well, that's a start, I guess.
Dude, I swear to God, that's gonna be someone I know. Booty Eater, Alabama. Booty Eater, Alabama.
Oh, I can't see the comments. Y'all are seeing the comments.
Yeah.
Let me switch
I don't know if you want to see them, David.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Should I be? Oh,
They're very inappropriate.
Yeah, well, that's what we attract, I suppose.
I do. I track that a lot, actually.
It's all your fault. Never having you on here again.
About me.
It happens.
Yeah, most of our fans are lurkers. They hang out, and then later they ask me questions. I'm like, why didn't you ask during the hangout? That's what it was for.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll open the floor to Ann. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask of the crew?
Oh, good golly. No.
Probably no more than you want to at this point.
I'm sure.
No, y'all are cool.
Well, what did you order? You just ordered some books. Is that what I'm gathering?
She ordered all the
I
books.
ordered books. Yeah. Yeah.
You got them all?
I have several. I
Are you
have
the other person that bought my book?
6, 7.
What, David?
So is she the other? Are you the other person that bought my book?
Yeah, I think there was both of them. So.
Yeah, she bought them both.
I figured it was time to up the to be read pile, make it big enough that it's intimidating.
Like if it hasn't fallen and crushed you yet,
That's good.
You're just getting started.
My family is big on books.
That's cool.
There's bookshelves in every room of my house, I think.
That's cool. That's real cool.
And we don't have as many as my grandparents when we had to clear out their house. Oh my goodness. There was hundreds of boxes of books.
Oh,
so.
Wow.
But
my mother has quite an extensive library. My mother does.
I think there was at least 40 boxes of cookbooks.
Oh, wow.
And then there was, all nature and travel. They traveled the world. And classics. It was amazing.
Wow. Every time I've moved, it's been like one bag full of clothing, and then like one bag full of a box full of random papers that I can't get rid of, and then like 37 boxes of books. That's been the one thing I've held on to.
Yeah, I have 3 boxes of stuff from like my beginning and I've moved probably 100 times, and I still have it. But there's a lot of books.
Yeah, we're good people, but my wife has a really neat collection of unique pop-up books. Just art. I mean, with really incredible art. So we're always on the lookout for some pretty neat pieces. And then, of course, because I like horror, we got to put a horror twist to it. But maybe next time I'll have to bring some of those and do a little show and tell.
There you go.
But they're really, really cool. So that's a kind of a neat aspect. But the ironic thing is she won't let anybody look at them because she's afraid they're going to mess them up. So it's like there they sit on the shelf. But no. But maybe with special permission, I can do it online.
Well, that's it. We're gonna no more novels. We're gonna exclusively do horror pop-up books from now on. I'm making that decision. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay.
Exactly.
I think my coolest books I have are actually my great-grandfather's college yearbooks.
Oh, those are cool.
Oh, wow.
So, what year was that? What's that like? Guess what? Early 1900s? Oh, she's gone.
There's one.
Wow.
Oh, come on now.
Wow, that's so thick.
That is so cool.
Incredibly thick. What's the school?
The Beaver.
In Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon.
I'm not saying anything.
Right? That's what I was trying not to say anything. But
it was so thick. It was like right.
No, there's a scholarship in his name, I am told, at the school. So
Oh, cool.
Those are my oldest books.
That's cool. What was the school?
It is Oregon Agriculture College for this one. It's one of the Oregon universities.
I see.
I think it's on the coast.
That's really cool. So your family's officially cooler than mine. I don't have anything like that going on.
I have a few published authors in my family too. I'm not, but
Well, we're going to look for the poetry collection.
Definitely.
yeah, at some point. I'm getting there. I'm trying.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few that need a little bit more polish, but if I graduate, that's the goal of this year. Just get through my master's program.
And what is your program? What is your field? Your
Creative writing.
Oh, nice. So does that end up being like a Master's of Fine Arts, or how?
Yeah, it's an MFA. It's a 2-year program.
Yeah, cool.
So it's like a terminal degree unless I decide to go for teaching credentials. I'm done.
Yeah, I hear you. That's neat. That's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, I've always played with the idea of doing that and never did it. I mean, I just went through, got my BA. I taught public high school English teacher for 30 years. So with a bachelor's degree and, getting a teaching certificate as well with that. I got it in literature and then taught English for 30 years. So always wanted to do, and so that they would, as an English teacher, they give you all kinds of things. So I taught the yearbook, had a debate class. I never had any background in that. And then a creative writing class. And that was a lot of fun. I just got to make up stuff and say, well, let's try writing like this. I just throw some ideas out there. And that was fun. But I didn't ever have any formal education in creative writing. So
it was kind of not the plan, but when my boss said, hey, it'd be really cool if you had a master's degree now that you got your bachelor's degree, I'm like, okay, it's going to be creative writing.
Yeah. I just realized that my laptop was about to lose its power. It's plugged in, but I think the outlet must be turned off. I'm going to step away and see if the switch is what's causing the problem. Let me just try this. Talk amongst yourself.
Oh, okay. Discuss.
I did yearbook. I did 9th grade yearbook. That was cool.
Oh, really? That's great. Oh, good. I'm charging. Maybe I'm charging.
I actually, I didn't go to junior. I don't know I guess you call middle school or high school. So I didn't get any of those fun experiences, the yearbooks and the extracurriculars and whatever.
So can you tell why you didn't, or is that something I shouldn't ask?
I have a really weird family. It was strange. So my path was I graduated 6th grade. I qualified for Mensa at that point. So I was in the top 2% in the state, and I just never went back to school. And then when I was 19, I went to I took a GED, and then I went to college. I just went straight to college from there. So I took some people take a gap year. I took 6 years off.
So now looking back on that, what would be your reflection? Would you advocate for people doing that, or you just say what happened?
No, I wouldn't, because I spent the rest of my life wondering what that was like. So I've never had like the high school, even like the cliques and any of that. I was like, I've always wondered what it was just like to have a locker, that I had to put shit in and stuff like that. I never got any of that. So I definitely would say just go through the experience, even though everyone claims it sucks.
It does.
But I don't know. I got a lot of time to read and a lot of time to practice art and stuff like that. But if I could, I'd probably go back. I'd probably do it.
I think most of my extracurricular in high school was art classes. So
Neat.
I'm a painter and a poet, and
Oh, nice.
I'm creative.
Awesome. Well, you, Kitty, hold on. So you got to show us some of your work sometime. Give us a link or somewhere to see what you create.
I'm a bit rusty, but yeah, I need to work on my website. I have one. I
Nice.
just haven't played with it for a while.
So if you ever could do painting that went along with a particular poem, I think that would be a really neat thing to do.
That's my goal, is to do drawings with my poetry and do a book of illustrated poems.
That would be really, really cool.
So that's a goal.
Cool. Dig it.
Sorry, Papa's a little bit needy.
Yeah.
Like, if I hadn't worn out Luke, he's our editor. Luke Cornish Rex. If we hadn't worn him out on the first chat, I don't think he'd have been able to. He'd have been all over the place.
Yeah.
I think you're a member of the Facebook group, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Gestalt, the creative group.
Pretty sure. Okay, I got 500 people there right now. It's
You're
a
good.
new thing to try and. I'm like, oh man, I can't remember if I talked to you there or not. But yeah,
we talk all over. That's why you're fine.
Yeah.
All right.
I talk on Twitter, talk on Facebook, talk everywhere. Cool. So we got about 5 minutes left here. You know, you got to get off to your fun.
Yeah.
Fun evening.
I gotta go feed people.
Well, that's something I can get behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a food fan.
Oh my God.
Same.
I'm
Have
sorry.
you found yourself? I know Ryan's especially struggling right now because you can't get candy whenever you want it.
How did you stock up?
I did stock up, but I'm going through it because the boy's home. So that little shit will go through some candy. And if I don't hide it, he's got really good at finding it.
Yeah.
Hide it in the veggie drawer.
No,
That's
then
where-
the Oreo will get it. I have to I don't know.
When you got a Thunderdome over a Kit Kat, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah. That's the apocalypse right there.
So yeah, I think that's been like one of the weirdest, not the weirdest, but it's like we have plenty of food, but it's like now I know that it's limited.
Yeah.
And like you just don't have the choices, and it's these things you take for granted that you never thought you would. Like if I didn't like what we had, I'd be like, let's get in the car, drive the 10 minutes to the grocery store because you know. But we can go get it. And now it's like you can't. And it just shows how spoiled we are. I think that like little things like that, you just assume we're gonna be fine.
See, and we have plenty of food in the house, but it's ingredients. I know, I'm sorry.
His face is so cute.
So now we've got to cook. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we've done is I make like 3 meals because you don't want to have the same thing over and over again. So I make 3 meals on the same day, and then we just kind of switch back and forth between them, and then freeze it once we get like just sick of it.
You see, and I've got Spanish rice on the stove, and if I have enough time, I'll boil up some pasta and took the pasta sauce out of the freezer, so that'll last us a day or two.
Awesome.
Now I'm hungry.
And David grills out like every night, so we can all be jealous of him.
Yeah, that's what we do. We grill, watch for bears.
I'm gonna say you can't do that all the time because Eileen will show up and
But she didn't mess with the bear. I mean, the meat. The grilling doesn't matter. She just comes and brings her little cubs, and we have a great time watching them play. Yeah, we have a bear.
Absolutely.
That's another whole story.
Brian's a little scared of bears.
Yeah.
Phobia.
But you have made some nice comments about the Cubs.
The cubs are very cute.
Yeah.
The cubs are very cute. They're cute, but no, there's a mama always around somewhere.
Yeah.
And no.
And
Nope.
I get it, and I understand that. I get it. She's really
I've told him
sweet.
we're going to drive over there with the windows up. And we're going to sit at the end of his driveway with masks on. I'm going to see this fucking bear.
She's here. Well, she didn't come today, but she comes by every day.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm not going to stop and say hey to you or nothing. I'm going to see the bear.
You'll be sitting there
I
watching.
go home.
Nope.
I get it.
I'm going to live stream it so Ryan can watch.
Yeah.
Nope.
Videos on my well, I get my newsletter to watch my videos, but there's a opportunity to see some really cute cubs at play.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
The most dangerous animal I have around me is
I don't know, and I can't
bull,
say
so
it's a long thing.
that's all I got. Just a pit bull. And she's not even a full pit bull. She's half German, short hair pointer. So she looks like a dingo. But that's the most vicious dog that I have. Ugly as sin, but just the sweetest dog. But that's the most vicious animal I have around me.
You're right.
Oh,
They're not. Well, our neighbors have 2 pit bulls or mixed. They're mixed,
Yeah, the mix are the best.
and they're real sweet, very sweet dogs.
They are very sweet. They are.
the Rexes are about the most vicious thing we have, and that's enough. I was telling David, I think in the last chat, that it always looks like I've been playing patty cake with Wolverine.
I remember that.
All over his fingers.
We have my daughter and her ex adopted a black cat from the SPCA, and
Come here.
she will bite you.
Yeah.
If she wants attention, if you're not giving her the right attention.
Oh boy.
Yeah, look at this little guy.
Miss Lou.
He's sleepy. He's the only time I actually like him
Yeah.
around. No.
I can't have cats. My son's allergic really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't like cats. No, it's okay if I go to other people's houses and they have cats, but I'm not a cat person, which is really funny because I'm a witch. But I have a boxer. My oldest dog, my boxer, he's my familiar. So.
See, and I have had cats my whole life. I am more allergic to some than others. Like Papa, I'm gonna be dying tonight because his hair is like all over me. I'm gonna have to go like rinse off before I go to work. And one of my friends used to breed cats, and I can't remember what they are. I almost ended up in the emergency room because this cat liked me so much, jumped on me and was all up in my face.
That's my son. That's my son. You have to give him, Benadryl. When he goes to his friend's house, they have like 6 cats. He loves them, but I have to give him allergy medicine before he goes. And then when he comes home for a couple days, he's just all messed up.
Yeah, it's scary. I used to have a dog, but he passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. So I gotta wait till I'm graduated before I can have time for another dog.
We have 3, and it was an accident.
Yeah.
So the 3 dogs sleep in the bed with us, which is not fun. And the third dog is a lab. He's part Labrador, part boxer.
Mm-hmm.
So he just looks like a short lab is what it is. He's got the entire lab body, and then he stands up. He's got boxer legs. It's kind of sad. But we weren't expecting the pity pointer, the pit bull. We weren't expecting that, but our daughter moved in with us while her husband was over in Korea on tour. So she brought her dog with her. Well, she left, and she couldn't take Pepper with her because Pepper fell in love with our puppy Artemis, the lab, and you can't separate them.
No.
They're the same age. They're only I think they're almost 2 years old. They're puppies. So we have a third dog.
Yeah. I have 4 cats in my house, and then my son ended up with his ex's 2 bunnies, and I'm just no more.
You hate to see that happen.
I love bunnies. Bunnies
Yeah.
fun.
They're adorable. I think I'm kind of allergic to them too. So.
Oh no!
But those are my grand bunnies.
Grand bunnies. That's great.
We have outdoor bunnies, but we have outdoor coyotes too.
Yeah.
So
we have coyotes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
population's in flux
daily. You've got wolf. Side, you have a red wolf, right?
I'm confident that we saw him twice. I saw his tail once. I'm confident that a red wolf just came right up the driveway, and just in the middle of the day, it was the weirdest thing because the deer were in the field, and he walked within about 10 feet of them, and they weren't spooked by him, and he ignored them entirely. Just walked right past them, and he followed the driveway, which is about half a mile. He followed it up to the house and jumped across the creek and just kept going. I was like, cool. Nice.
We
nice
get raccoons, opossums. I think there's a couple coyotes in the park near my house. And then I get Canadian geese and wild turkeys.
I hate Canadian geese with a passion.
The turkeys are the fun ones. They go wander through the neighborhood all the time.
Yeah, we get some wild turkeys around here too.
We got 50. I think I counted 50 turkeys. Now the wild turkey, that's a completely different kind of party. But,
the bottled one.
They tried to catch our turkeys once. Apparently, we have a rare species of them. Whatever, but they're smarter than the forestry service because they came and set up their blind and tried to catch them 3 days in a row and never caught one. So that's kind of cool, I guess. But
we have a family of deer. We're surrounded by woods. We have a family of deer that sticks around all the time because I didn't know that deer hissed. And one day Bert was running to the fence, the boxer, and I happened to be outside and I hear this hissing noise and I'm like, what the is that? And it was one of those deer. And I'm like, I had no idea deer hissed. So they like to come over. They've been here forever and they keep having babies and they'll bring the babies to the fence and very cute.
We had as many as 20 deer at once and I've never seen a buck.
This is Junior, by the way. This is a different cat.
That's a different cat.
Oh, God, that was the same one.
So cute.
Nope. This is his son.
Nothing.
Yay. Get that air.
Yeah, he misses his puppy. That's my shadow.
Awesome.
My sister has always had dogs, but she got her husband for her 50th birthday 2 kittens because he had cats growing up, and she's never been a cat person. But she had told us, she goes, if I had known it was that easy to potty train a kitten compared to a puppy, she said, I would have never gotten dogs because it's so easy. You just show them the little litter box one time, and that's it.
Cool. I was looking for that.
That was good.
Yeah, you can go away for the weekend when you have cats.
Exactly.
That would be really cool.
Ours are the weird thing about Cornish is that they imprint on their owner. So that's literally I don't get 5 minutes by myself because the black one thinks that I'm like he owns me or something. So he'll ride around on my shoulders most of the time. But if we leave, it really freaks them out because they want to have that person around all the time. Yeah.
We can
Junior's kind of like that. Yeah. He'll sit there and he'll meow when it's bedtime.
Oh, that's
cool.
That's so cute.
It's adorable. It's like, yo, come on.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he's got a really interesting cry.
Oh. It's like,
but guys,
get your slippers on. It's time to go.
I'm going to have to head out because I got to go get ready for work.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's great to see you, Ann.
Yeah. Talk again, guys.
Thanks for coming. Have a good one.
Good. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right.
She was very nice.
She's a sweet girl. I like her.
She's familiar to me. She's vaguely familiar to me, and I don't know. Is she on Twitter?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I've seen her. I know her somehow. You know, I'm horrible with names. I'm horrible with remembering people. I am horrible with that.
Me too.
Like if they have the little picture, the little bio picture, but if they change it, I totally panic. I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
Kind of the same about that. Like when I was asking her if she was in the group, it's like I know people in our shameless plug. Go to Facebook, go to Gestalt Media Creative Community, join. It's awesome. I know people there by what they make, but like if you ask me to like just told me by name and then say what do they post about, I'd be like, fuck if I know.
Of course,
Most of the time.
500 people in there in that group.
Close to it,
I
yeah.
mean, damn, I only have like 138 in my group.
Well,
Wow.
we're about 2 months in, and I've been pretty busy.
Consistent.
Yeah, we got
You do the questions a day. I think that you know that you get a lot of traffic. You get a lot of
we're
traffic.
very engaged. Yeah, well, the activity is very high. I like that people talk to each other now, because earlier it was hard to get people to talk to each other and interact, and that's really the whole point. Is I want everybody to share and share advice and ask questions and find people who can who are into similar things, or maybe somebody you want to do a commission from or whatever.
Yeah.
We have 459 members as of today.
That's cool.
That is cool.
So it's gone really well. It's a very uplifting place. We don't have any problem posters, like not even one. We don't even have one person who's a pain in the ass, and that's rare. So I'm enjoying it.
Social media is a beast, man.
Yeah,
It is.
It really can be. It really is.
I didn't think anything would get me back on Facebook, but
I don't like Facebook. I don't.
I try not to look at the timeline, but this community is positive, so I enjoy being part of that.
That's good, because a lot of the writing communities on Facebook can get quite vicious. That's something I've noticed, because I joined a year ago. I went through and just kind of handpicked a couple communities to join, and I was shocked by how vicious some of the other writers could get with one another, especially the newbies. I was just like, there's no point in, like, they're all in competition or something instead of us giving each other advice and pumping each other up. And I just don't get that kind of energy.
No, it's a co-op. If it's anything, like, there is no competition. People think, okay, first off, there's over 1 million books published every year. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking that you're somehow going to lower your competition, it's not going to happen.
No.
But there's room for everyone, and that's what we've seen, is that everybody can still succeed, and we can learn from each other and get better at what we do. So I don't get that at all. I don't get tearing people down.
The only competition I have is myself. I just have to beat my last book. That's all I need to do.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
It's gonna be hard to do. The last one was pretty fierce.
Yeah, the last one. Well, this one is Jesus. I mean, Jesus Christ. We have totally gone that way.
I'm looking forward.
I saw it in the last one. I saw you headed that direction, and when you were giving me your synopsis for the new one.
Yeah, really, but each book has its own. I mean, you've got the 10 books and you've got the whole overall arc, but each one has their own feel. And I've never written a series before, so I didn't know that would happen. I just assumed it would all be like River and her vibe, but then fate changed that. And then just going into this third book, God only knows what's going to happen with the fourth one. Good God, probably burned the world down. I don't know.
By the time you get to the 10th one, it's going to be so dark that I'm going to have to put a warning label on the front or something.
Well, I might need a warning label for this one, the third one. I was thinking that because there are some, there are some scenes in there that are going to be triggering, I think. So, it might need just a little warning. I don't know.
Well, and I'm not stealing from Gaiman. Actually, I did this I usually write my books starting with the title. Like I come up with this idea, and usually the title presents itself, and it's like whatever the most descriptive word. But my next novel is literally titled "Trigger Warning," so don't say I didn't fucking tell you that it was gonna go some places. I don't.
Is that how you do that? Your titles? I didn't do that. I wrote the books and then I went back and did the titles.
My process usually looks like I'll come up with an idea, and I'll write like a paragraph, or I'll write a sentence and then I'll expand it into a paragraph. So I very much use snowflake method.
Yeah.
And And then at the top of the document, I'll just pick something that describes the story. And I do that because it reminds me to keep coming back to the main theme. So whatever that particular paragraph, whatever that seems like, whatever word describes that just immediately comes to mind, I'll put that on my document so I can find it easier later. And then that always becomes my title. But while I'm working, I'll be like, am I still hitting my mark on what my original idea was? So Ghost Story was self-evident. I was like, this is a ghost story. And I wanted to always keep coming back to that. Watcher was the same thing. I wanted to always keep coming back to that surveillance paranoia that people have. And so every few chapters I look back up and go, oh yeah, make sure you're adhering to your theme here. So that's just how I do it, but it seems to work.
I like to keep it simple. Just one word. All 10 books have one word. They each have 20 chapters. Everything with numbers. And when you get to the 10th book, you'll see that the chapter titles spell out something that you could have figured something out. So it's like a big Easter egg. Yeah. So
here's a we just learned. That's cool.
Yeah. So and there's a quote at the beginning of each book, and some of them seem random, some of them don't, but at the end you realize that they all go together in sort of a backwards kind of way. There's a lot of like puzzles like that and Easter eggs and stuff that, you know, when they get to like the 5th book, they can go, wait a minute. Did she say something about this? And you can go back to River and, you know, read, you know, just the little bitty white rabbits if you can find them.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
And for people that are watching, actually, so I assume you're still working on your side stories for the.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
so the 3 of us here, and I believe Dawn was working on one as well. I have to check in on her. We're all gonna move into the next phase of Gestalt Media, which is gonna be the comic, the illustrated realm. It's something I've been excited about forever. So I am terrified of what some of your panels are gonna look like. Some of the scenes of how we're gonna pull this off.
Were you talking to David or me?
Yours, David. I've seen. Okay, I've seen the artwork for his book, and it's special. It's really cool, and I can envision that, and it's going to be a very, very moody, very powerful story. But the Rivers world, shit. How are we going to do this?
I have no idea.
It's going to be. I mean,
it's, you know, and even just with those, like I did an anthology last year too, and I want to do some more anthologies, and they're all like, you know, the one I did is a story with the series of an event, a very small event that took place back in 1514. So any anthologies I do, I want to do a little side story of the series. So these, you know, 2 stories that I'm working on for you, you know, again, it's side stories to this huge sort of web of River, who comes at the end of the story. You know, it all started like in 400, you know, AD. So she's at the end of all of it, which I know is kind of, I mean, I really did go kind of far back with my history a little bit. But again, the research, I love researching.
Well, none of us are guilty of over planning our books. Oh, that would never happen.
That's the fun part. And people don't understand, how can you spend hours on that? How can you spend hours perfecting a story or reading the same chapter over and over again to perfect it and edit it and stuff? And I'm like, because when it's finally done and you look at it and you're like, damn, look what I did, you know, even if no one reads it. I don't know.
Plenty of people are reading it lately. We've had a major uptick in River interest. I think a lot of we had the Goodreads giveaway, and then we had I think you've been doing a few giveaways yourself, so that's been working. People have been it's been getting out there.
Yeah, I was surprisingly get some really good people wanting to actually read it. Now I don't know if they'll review it or anything, but you know, I just want people to read it.
Yeah, well, it's worth it. It really is.
I've got a lot of questions for you about River, and I'm saving them because there's a lot of questions. And then that gets into your universe. It gets into about how you feel about characters. And in fact, I want to leave you with a teaser. I don't want you to answer this question. I want to leave it for something later, if that's okay.
Mhm.
I want to know if, as a character, even though you created her, if River pisses you off sometimes. So don't answer. I just want to know about that.
I've actually been asked that before.
Okay.
In roundabout way, because she does piss people off sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm not going to answer that though.
Good. I want to know later about that and many other things.
And that's a cool segue. I know, man, it's getting late. Yeah. I don't know if you guys know Gorex in the chat right now.
I see it.
That is Roger. He's the one who did our True Tales from Alternate Dimensions, the first comic that we ever did. So he's been with us since the beginning, and I hope to see his full project come out this year.
Yeah, cool. I look forward to it.
But as he said, he plans for years and years.
Yeah,
years. So you got to take your time with it.
I want to see it.
But it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. So that's a good segue. We're actually going to start doing live book talks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our first one will be this Thursday. Tentative. We'll see how that goes. But I'm interested in that, and so maybe we can answer some of those questions that have been bugging us.
Yeah.
About the series that we're all reading. So I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
That was a great idea, David.
Good.
Yeah, that's David's idea right there.
When I read a book, I think about questions that I say, I would like to ask the author this question. So we got the chance now. Let's do it.
What David doesn't know is that means he got volunteered to host.
Oh, boy. Well, it's not like I'm going to be anywhere else.
He's got his Masterpiece Theater chair and...
Yeah, I got it here, man. I got I got to turn my light on here and get a little bit. I got my movie posters up. No, it's not really showing a little bit there. A little Vincent Price in the background, and
yeah,
Ryan would like my little figure here.
Oh yeah, I love her. I love her.
I get my corner set up here for that.
I need that.
So we'll be doing those. We'll bring that. I don't know how often we'll do it, but I think it's going to be cool. That'll be a good addition.
Cool. Well, good. It's been fun, guys.
Awesome. It was fun. I will see you guys later.
Yep. Bug out too.
All right. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe. Stay home.
Stay home.
Stay home. Stay
home and read our books.
That's right. Stay home and read our books. Email me, DM me something, and I'll send you a PDF copy of them.
That's right.
River, anyways. I won't do Fate. Jason just want me to do Fate.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.